go. We're off and running. Hey everyone. Hi, this is Rick with Hit and Run Candlesticks, and I want to thank Ed for inviting me over here one more time, one more Monday. If everything goes well, he tells me that I can come over here next Monday at 11:45 Eastern. So until he tells me different, I'll be here every Monday, 11:45 Eastern time, and I hope everyone can join us. Today, we have spent so much time talking about long charts and bullishness and well, just everything trending up, and we've looked at oops, let me make this stay on top. There we go. We've looked at all sorts of scans on the long side, and I have had a couple requests here in recent past to talk about some short chart setups, and today might be a good day to do that. So what I'm going to do is, for the first part of this webinar, we're going to get the scans set up for anybody that needs it set up, and then I would like to explain what I like about the blue ice failure and how I personally might trade it, and then other folks here may have some suggestions on how you trade it. We'll certainly look at that. So anyway, like I said, the first thing I want to do is set up the scanner. Now, I do want to make mention here, I noticed Ed sent a note out through the scanner. If you have a little blue envelope blinking on the top left of one of your alert windows, you can click on that, and a pop-up message will come up, and then that little blue thing will go away, little envelope will go away. But I believe what will happen, or I believe what he's done, he's got a new version out, and I would have done it, but I didn't want to stop all my windows. So truthfully, as soon as we're done here today, I'm going to go do that right away. There's some pretty cool tricks in that, and I'll be talking about that today here after this and after lunch in the Hit and Run Candlesticks trading room. So very excited for that, but I just can't do it till after this. Otherwise, it just cleans all my windows out, and I don't want to do that right now. So let's get started here, and the first thing we're going to do is, for those that have the scanner, this is what I use right here, and I'll go through this. There's, it's not any big trick to it. Pretty simple, pretty plain Jane is what it is. And if you go to the scanner, if you click on the plus sign here, right in here, this is where all the menus are, and there's two blue ice failure alerts. And if you just type in blue or blue ice, they will come up. Now, I use both of these, and I just put the or in there. That's exactly what I do. There's just nothing fancy about that. There's nothing tricky about it. It's pretty doggone straightforward. Just the bare blue ice failure. And then when live trading alerts first opened its doors, Ed had created a blue ice failure that I was using, and it's just called Rick Blue Ice. Very much the same, but a tiny bit different. And I just use both of those. And like I say, put a check mark under each one of those or, and then what it'll do is it'll alert when it's this one or this one right here. And as you can see, there's 216 symbols possible for the watch list that I use, and it will only alert when we get that new day high, or I have this marked a check mark high, and we're going to look at some of these charts and figure out what we might do with them or how we might handle them. Okay, so I'm just leaving this up and kind of talking for a moment, making sure those that have this, you have it all done here. So if you need me to come back to this, I can certainly do that. But right now, I'm just going to click cancel, answer some questions, and we'll look at some charts. Okay, Pretty simple here. There we go. So, let's see, Charlie, show us your tricks of trading shorting. I'll do my best, Charlie. I will. Let's see, John, would this work for inverse ETF? Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Inverse charts, they're just like a regular chart. Now, I'll just answer yes. Yeah. And what this looks for, let's just come over here and look at show. What this looks for is charts that's failing that 50 period moving average or awfully close to it in this area. This is a pretty good one. I'll just leave this up right now. So this blue ice failure, I want to give credit. Dave Elliott, some of you may have known by First Wave. He's the one I think coined the phrase blue ice failure, and I want to certainly give credit to him. This was years ago, and it is absolutely my favorite shorting trade of all. And we'll go through some of these. So what I'm looking for is a chart that's trending. I want the price to be trending, but I also want it to be trending above the 50 period moving average. And I want the 200 period moving average to be below the 50. Now, those of you that are familiar with the rounded bottom breakout, this is, I'm going to pretty much say exactly the same. It's just a shorting rounded bottom breakout. We call it a rounded top breakout, and we're using the blue ice failure in there. But it's the same principle as the bullish rounded bottom breakout. And I think you all know how popular that is and how profitable that is. And this can be the same way, this chart pattern. So again, I'm looking for these moves to the upside, bullish trend, and fail the 50, and then we're looking for it to move back toward, not necessarily to, the 200 period moving average. And this line right here, the solid red one, that's the 200 period. Another thing we're looking for is there to be at least 10% in that possible move. Really, the purpose of that 10% is from a greedy standpoint. It's honestly, I don't want to be in a trade if it can't give me 10%, if it doesn't have the possibility. The other reason that we use the 10% is many times when price moves too far away from a major moving average, it likes to come back to that moving average, and 10% is an all-around good number. If somebody really wanted Ed to change that, maybe he could put that on his list. But I'm not recommending anybody go out there and do that. We find that 10% works just fine. In this case, you're looking at 14-15%, so that's well over that 10%. Let's see, NVIDIA is coming up, and it's making a new day high. Let's go take a look at NVIDIA. So let's clean off everything here. There we go. So here's NVIDIA. It's been moving flat, a slight little rise, and then you see how it came back below the 50 period moving average. We're just looking for it to move back down. Now, we all know that not every chart works out just because, maybe it's coming up on this blue ice failure. It's coming up on the blue ice failure because it's doing exactly what we've asked it to do. We want to be notified when it falls under the 50 period moving average after a trend up, and at least that 10% to the 200. That's exactly what this is doing. From there, what we want to look for is the overall chart, and we want to make that decision. Do we want to enter that trade? Take SVC maybe. I might like this a little bit more than the NVIDIA trade right now. just because it's still showing weakness right in here. So let's see, shouldn't only if they've risen up, John. Yeah, only if they've risen up. Then you might, you might get that blue ice failure. But if you're getting a blue ice failure on an inverse ETF, that means the market has had a problem. Yeah, the market has had a problem. Yeah, yeah. So, so this would be a really good time if anyone just has any questions about the blue ice scan or the blue ice trade. Please, let's keep the questions to the blue ice failure subject. Okay, let's do that. Let's look at PEB here. PEB. See how this has moved down, and we're in that blue ice failure idea or that area right now, and it looks like we may move down in toward the 200. Now on this chart, I don't want to chase anything like this. If I was to go short, honestly, what I would want to do is put a buy box in here like that, and then I would want it to have a relief rally, and then I would look for that short. CIM. See, that's showing a little bullishness today, but as long as it stays underneath the 50-period moving average, then I'm going to look at that as a short chart, especially if the Trendicator remains red, and that's what the Trendicator is doing right now. These three dots right in here. Those three right there. Alrighty, it's question time. Going to be a pretty short webinar. There we go. Do you always wait for the retrace to the 50 to take the short? Charlie, the blue ice failure is a strategy, and that strategy says yes. Wait for that breakdown of the 50. Okay. So if you think about the blue ice failure, all it is a trap play. That's all it is. It's a trap play, okay? It's from the 50 to the 200. So I think maybe what you're thinking, or maybe where you're headed anyway, is what about something like this? What about shorting it up here and then moving down maybe to the 50? And there absolutely you could do that. You could set up a trap play just like a very similar to the 3/8 trap maybe, but it would be in reverse. I don't think I would use the 3 and the 8. I would use something more like, for me, I would have to use the 17 or maybe the 20 simple and the 50-period moving average right here. I was just playing with something similar to that. I don't know if that's going to work out. Let me try to see if I have one. All right, take this right here, INDA. See, if this fails right in here, that might be a short down to the 50 period. Is that kind of what you were asking? Sort of. I just want to make sure that you understand the blue ice failure is about trading from the 50 to the 200. Has nothing to do with what's up here, but you can certainly do that. Okay. Do I use the trend line also? To point out the trend? Yes, I do. I may not draw it right there, but I can clearly see the downtrend. Okay. Alice, I'm going to skip over your question right now just because I want to keep this to talking about nothing but the blue ice failure. Maybe toward the end here, we can look at some other stocks, okay? I don't mean to ignore you. Otherwise, what happens is we really get off into craziness too much, okay? Does that make sense, Charlie? And please ask again if you're not, completely sold on that or completely understand what I'm saying there. Alicia, this is the 200 period moving average right here. This is the dotted deuce. What I'm going to do is come up here and I'm going to show you how I do that. If I can find it, there it is. If you have TC2000, this is going to make sense to you. If you don't, what I would suggest is write this down with a pen or pencil right now, or you can copy this. But this is how it's set up. It is the 200 period moving average, and the average type is it's front weighted, okay? Opposed to simple or exponential. It's front weighted, and it's the average of the low opposed to last price or closing price. All right, so it's the low. That's all it is. So I use the dotted deuce, and then I use the 200 period right here. Let's see, CDLX. That would be a nice blue ice failure. Again, let me with this chart, let me run through the mechanics of the blue ice failure. Okay, mechanics is I want a bullish trend, and that is clearly what we have here. I want the 50 period moving average to be greater than the 200 period moving average. And I want 10%, at least 10% in there. I probably should have measured that. Maybe it's not. I'll check that in a minute. So we want 10% in there between the 50 and the 200. And then what we're looking for is a short trade in this area right here. So see how we've moved down and we've rallied back up. Anywhere in here would have been a pretty good place to short this, and it's not, and it's still a short. You know, the chart can actually come down here and still be a short. It doesn't have to be tucked right at the 50 here. All right. Oh, let's see. Alicia needed that too. What this is the Trendicator. This takes a little bit more. Well, I'll tell you what. I have a video. Where is that video? I'll post a video in here for you on how to set that up. Okay, I'll post a video, and it's on my YouTube channel. But I will get that in here for you. All right. Let's see, Wendy, you're saying that you're not able to use the scanner on your trading view. Wendy, you don't, it's got nothing to do with trading view, okay? I'm not saying you don't have a problem. You may have a problem. And if you stay here after this, Ed can give you a little bit of a hand. But I want to share something with you. It doesn't matter whether you even are a stock trader. It has nothing to do with TradingView. It's a standalone program, which means all you need is a computer, the program downloaded, and internet. That's all you need. So while you definitely might have a problem that I don't know, but I assure you it has nothing at all to do with TradingView. Nothing at all. Let's see, Val, do you ever go short on the breakdown instead of waiting for the rally up? Yes, Val, absolutely. Let's go look at C here, and I'm going to read your question again. Do you ever go short on the breakdown? So, Val, would you be meaning maybe Friday's candle, the breakdown here on that? And I'm going to, yeah, okay. I went down and checked your comments there. Absolutely, yes. Yeah, you don't have to wait for a blue ice failure. You don't have to wait for that move down and a relief rally. You don't have to do that. This happens often, but you don't have to wait for it at all. I think Friday would have been a great day to short this, and I think today would be a good day to be short this. If it pops up, then it just simply pops up. We all know charts don't go up without pullbacks, and charts don't go down without pull-ups. So say you're shorting this right now, it's still at that level. I would probably basically use the 50 or just ever so slightly above it, maybe. Maybe that's too high for me. Maybe somewhere in that $60.80 level. So what could happen here is price could rally back up, but then hit that, see that failure in there, whether it's here or before it gets there, could do that. So the simple answer to your question is absolutely. Absolutely, I would take that too. Well, Wendy, you know what? Well, we can try to fix it, but there's just only so much a person can do. And when you say it's not working, maybe you could describe what it's not doing and leave TradeView out of it because it has nothing to do with TradeView. Maybe share here what it's not doing, and I can try to help. Okay. And again, George, I just want to remind everybody, I use TC2000, and the scanner has nothing to do with TC2000. Nothing at all, okay? Let's see, SCHW. This might be a good blue ice failure. Phil, yes. Now, thank you, Phil. I want to remind everybody that the blue ice failure is just a chart pattern. Just like any chart pattern, whether you're long or short, or whether that chart pattern is long or short, at any given time, price can change the direction, okay? So I look at this trade here, and I clearly see a downtrend. And this is what makes the blue ice failure for me. I clearly see this downtrend after a bullish uptrend. I see price below the Trendicator. The Trendicator has turned red. T-line below the Trendicator. Price below the T-line. Price below the 50-period moving average. This automatically gets a blue ice failure comment, providing that there's 10% to the 200 down here, which this is sitting at 22%. So yes, this is a very nice blue ice failure setup. But that doesn't mean that the buyers can't come in here and start buying this up and take us right up. Now, maybe it doesn't do it in one day. Maybe it does it like this. Maybe it even pulls back a little bit for a low, high, higher low, and then it breaks out. So just keep in mind that this is a chart setup, and at any given time, the sellers or buyers can make a better argument, okay? Val, shorting, Val is saying, for the purpose of the recording here, Val is saying, thanks, I have a hard time shorting, but need to step it up. I think a lot of people do, because generally speaking, people are taught in the beginning to be long. And most people learn from the long side. I say most, not everybody, but most people learn from the long side. And then shorting comes along, and shorting is not quite as simple as just turning the chart upside down. It's just not quite that simple. So it can be, shorting can be, it is a fantastic tool to be able to use, but it can also be very destructive for you if you're not careful. All right. Let me give you an example here. I'm a believer of trading with the market at your back, not in front of you. Don't be running into the market have the market at your back. So before I short something, I want to make sure that the market has my back. So does it? Is the market doing what I want it to do? Almost, almost. I mean, it certainly is moving to the downside. We certainly have a blue ice failure as of Friday, but see, we've come up now. So is this actually going to follow through as that blue ice failure, or are we going to break out? So today, my stance for today has been to be pretty much do nothing. I know a lot of traders don't believe in that. That's what I'm discovering here, is that traders feel they have to do something every single day, and you don't. And this is one of these days I'm going to play that card where I just don't have to do too much. And why? Because it's my business and I don't have to do too much. So I'm going to wait a day or two till the market confirms my back. So how can the market do that? Well, here the market has rallied up. Now what do we need to see here? We need to see failure. We have a high. We have a lower high. We need it to come up and see another lower high, and that could kick off failure to the downside. If it did this, then the market would have my back, and then I would feel very comfortable about maybe shorting Citi here. Now, with that said, this clearly looks like a short. There's no question about it. Clearly looks like a short. It just doesn't change the fact that I'm being a little bit quiet about trading today because I'm not really trading anything. I just want to make sure everything's working for me. And Val, one of the problems is the market is not built to go down. The market is built to go up. And please don't anyone take that wrong. I love to short. I'm perfectly happy shorting. I've had over the years, I've had two people, one person maybe a little wishy-washy, but two people that claims that that's stealing, thieving. One person even said that's un-American to short. No, I totally disagree with you there. Shorting is a fabulous, fabulous tool to have in your toolbox, but you want to make sure you do it at the right time. And sometimes it takes a little time to get comfortable with doing that. So, Val, I know you're a member of Hit and Run Candlesticks, so you know what I'm going to say. If you're going to short small, very small, till you become comfortable with it. Okay? Well, anyway, thank you. Let's see, Charlie, do you buy the 70 delta and 3 months out when shorting? Yes, as close as possible, Charlie, as close as possible. I find many times, though, with shorting, you might not be able to get that 70 delta with the open interest you might be looking at. So on shorting, a lot of times what happens to me is I have to take something less than a 70 delta. Not all the time, but a lot of times. At least recently, you know. But then recently, what do we have here? We've got nothing but bullishness in this market. Whoops, that's not it. There we go. I mean, look at that. Just the market just crazy in love with bullishness here. Let's see, SCHW 15-minute chart. Yeah, 15-minute chart. It's trying to come up. 15-minute chart is just showing what it's doing today. It's trying to move up, but unless it gets anywhere, it's still a short right here, unless it gets somewhere. And remember, when you have a downtrending chart, you need a pattern formed in here to be long. You really do. This is kind of important. And a pattern might be, a pattern can be a rounded bottom like that. The pattern can also be a rally up and a pullback and then a breakout wherever that high is. This chart pattern right here, the low, high, higher, low breakout of that high, that that will happen in every single chart you find that goes from, say, down here to up here maybe, or even a breakout. I guarantee you it will do that right there. It will make that chart pattern. Not every chart will make this rounded bottom breakout like that. Not, this kind of a rounded, slow move up. Not every chart will do that. However, I will guarantee you that in this rounded type, slow moving up, you will see the low, high, higher low, and then breakout of that high. And by the way, that's the tradable bottom for the long side on this. So as I look at this chart, there's not one stinking thing on here that suggests bullishness right now. Doesn't matter of the intraday chart. Alicia, can you look at HSC? There we go. Let's see. T-Line just wondering why it would show up on the scanner. It would show up on the scanner because it's between the 50 and the 200, and it's been in a trend. I think maybe, well, that's why it's showing up on the scanner. Maybe what you're asking is, today is showing a new daily high. Maybe that's what you really mean. Why would it be showing up on the scanner if it's making a new daily high? The reason it's showing up is because it's been in a bullish trend, and because price is below the 50 and the 200, and there's more than 10% to the 50 or to the 200 period moving average. If there's something else that's questioning that, let me know, and we can maybe solve that. Bob is asking a really good question here. Do you always use a SPY for my market decision? 9 out of 10 times, yes. I've tried to make my overall decision looking at the SPY and maybe IWM and maybe the diamonds, things like that. And the truth of it is one chart can look, say, a little bullish, a good day, okay? And then another chart might not be so much, might be just a, something like that, where and what I'm trying to do here is we're going to put a line right here. So maybe the SPY, for instance, ends up with a candle that looks like this, and then maybe the diamonds ends up with a candle that looks like this. They're both above some magical line that we might draw, okay? They're both above that. So what I found, what happened to me, is that I would look for the chart that I wanted. In other words, what's my outcome? What's my desired outcome? My desired outcome is to be bullish. So what am I going to do? I'm going to look at the chart that has the bullish candle. We're human. That's exactly what we're going to do. And I just decided years ago that was a mistake, and that I tend to follow just one, and that's going to be the SPY. So yes, to your question. Now, another chart that I follow an awful lot, and I've only been doing this for a year and a half or so now, is FNGU. FNGU is the FANG stocks. And I've gotten to where I lean to this one an awful lot, maybe even more than the SPY. If I see this bullish, I tend to wait an extra few days or just a day if I see the SPY not so bullish. And just the opposite, if I see the SPY a little bit bullish, but I see FNGU not cooperating, then I tend to lean with this chart. This FNGU is the FANG ETF, and it has, I mean, just take Apple. Apple is its own country, so it swings the market. It swings the market. So I do tend to follow this one that I never used to do, but I do tend to do that. Okay. Thanks. Great question, by the way. TV, do you consider possible support levels to the left? Sure, I do. Always. Yes. Charlie, do you ever hedge a position of closing the markets? You know, no, I don't. I don't hedge. Okay, I'm a stock picker. I'm a stock picker that follows what the charts are doing. All right. So if I'm long something, how do I say this? I follow what the charts are doing. So say I'm long, well, right now, I got to tell you, I'm long GM, okay? I'm long GM. Now, what if I wanted to be long, say, TZA? I'm not hedging it. I'm buying TZA because it looks like a long trade to me. So the very simple answer is no, I do not hedge. I believe in my ability to pick stocks. I think that's really one of the answers to short-term swing trading is being able to pick those stocks, being able to look at a chart and say, this is what the chart's doing. Okay, with that said, if I'm in GM, and all of a sudden I think, you know what, I want to buy a hedge, then I'm thinking to myself, what the hell am I doing in GM for if I need to buy a hedge? What, am I not positive on this chart? Am I not convinced on this chart? Am I questioning myself on this chart? So no, I do not buy hedges on anything I am in the market for. I trade the chart that's in front of me, and I trade based on price action, trend, and chart patterns. Wonderful question, by the way. FNG, I don't think it is that actually. Well, I guess it is. FNGD. That's the triple, I guess. So the Z is, it's the double. Triple is the D there. Thanks, John. I didn't know that, the Z. I thought it was just the D. But Ed, what is FNG telling me today? Really, a lot of nothing, okay? You can clearly see we still have a bullish trend here. We could put a line up here for a channel. We can clearly see that. We can clearly see that so far there appears to be some support. Touch, 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 right in here. I have a hard time buying this early in the day on one candle. Now, what I would do is if we closed over the T-line today with a bullish candle, then that would pretty much put me more in a long spot rather than a short spot. So any short positions, I personally would not be in them if this closed above the T-line today. Another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the 3-bar chart, and I'm going to figure out what the 3-bar chart is doing. And so far, we have a gap up, and we have follow through. So I want to see what that 3rd bar toward the end of the day is doing on this. So let's take a look at XLNX. And I'm not trying to promote any kind of short positions at all. I'm just pointing out we always look at longs, and I think we need to talk about shorts just sometimes, just because one of these days it's going to happen. One of these days this market is going to topple. Only a fool would think that that's not going to happen one of these days. I'm not saying it's going to happen this week. I'm not even going to say it's going to happen this month or this year for that matter. I'm just saying one of these days it's going to happen. And we're going to need to have some insight to short positions. All right, so this XLNX, see, this is moving down, and now it's moving up. I would love for this to move up into about the 138.50 area, give or take some pennies in there. I would love for it to come up there and then give us a sell signal or a reason to sell it. Clearly has a downtrend, clearly was in an uptrend, clearly is below the 50 period moving average. Price is clearly below the 200 and the T line, and the T line is clearly below the Trendicator. That's a short setup. I don't think this is necessarily the short buy, but this is coming into that short setup. So let's see. Fools rush in. Sing it, Elvis. Let's see. Is your T-line a moving average? Yes, sir. It's the 8 exponential moving average. Yeah. Thanks, Alicia. Appreciate it. PYPL. Yes, it's still up. All right. So here, let's take a look at another one here that came in here. PNC. Look at that. See, to me, that looks like a blue ice failure. That might be one I want to keep on my watch list. In fact, I'm going to flag it here. If the market starts to fall apart, right now the market seems like it's trying to put some bullishness together. But if it falls apart toward the end of the day, that might be a chart that I take a look at. This weekend, I put out on my YouTube channel a list of stocks based on what the scanner gave me for possible short trades. For anybody that's in our database, I emailed you that list. That list is right here. This is that list right there. So SCHW was one of them, and here it's trying to come up, and it's still in a short position right now. It's not in a long position until it gives us a long pattern, some bullishness. This is not bullishness right now. Right now, this candle is just hope and praying is what it is. Bottom pickers looking for a quick little nickel. If it shows bullishness, let it move up, let it test, let it show positive trading from there, then we can put it in the bullish category. Right now, this is just moving up for me for a possible good entry here. I just saw FVRR. That's moving up. Now this one right here, this actually might be moving up for that possible long move, but we want to take in consideration some support and resistance, I think, here. And I wouldn't want to be long this until it breached that 2030, 230, 50 area, got through that resistance right in there. So let's see. Hey, Malcolm. Let's see, John, do you look into bond charts like TLT and HYG for trends to guide you in direction of bonds in comparison to stocks if you need to get out of long stocks based on what bonds are doing? No, sir, I do not do that. I'm probably the most boring trader you will ever meet. I truly am. I am probably the most boring trader that you will ever meet. I'm the guy that just simply looks at this chart right here, and I look for chart patterns. Excuse me. And I look for chart patterns, and then when you spoke of let's see, compare some stocks if you need to get out of long stocks based on what bonds are doing. I get out of long stocks based on my profit goals. Okay, so let me give you an example. Just a few minutes ago, I bought some Ford. Okay, I sent out on the app to our members that I bought it. Few minutes ago. It was right before I came on here. By the way, if you're a member of Hit and Run Candlesticks or Right Way Options, even we have an app that you can download. It's free. It's part of your membership. That whenever we buy or sell something, we will send that out. we will send that alert out to you. And I sent that out a little bit ago to the members here. But I bought some Ford. So let me explain to you what I'm looking for. So very simple. I'm looking for a chart that's trending, that is clearly trending. I'm looking for a chart that has some sort of a rise, and the trend could be the rise. And then I'm looking for a slight little pullback. This is what I look for in all charts, even in a rounded bottom breakout when we're down here. I still look for the same entry pattern. So I'm looking for that rise. I'm looking for that slight pullback, the rise. Here's the pullback. And then I'm looking for price action and the chart pattern. Well, this chart pattern is a J-hook continuation chart pattern. It's not quite, because the J-hook doesn't start till it's up here. But we can see what the possibilities are. We can see what the possibilities are. This is, however, a 3/8 trap trade. Okay, 3/8 trap trade. There's a 3/8 trap right there. We're inside that trap. And I'm going to look at price action, and I see a morning star signal here on as far as the chart pattern goes. Okay, now let's talk about looking at the bonds to tell me if I should get out of it. And no, I don't do that. What I do is I know exactly what it takes me to double my money, and that's my goal. Okay, to double my money in 12 months. My entire trading account, the Road to Wealth account, I want to double it in 12 months. It's that simple. I don't care if I triple it. I don't care if I quadruple it. All I want to do is double it. Now, it's going to work out better than that, but my goal is to double it. So I know exactly how much money I need to do that. I know exactly how much. And by knowing this information, as price starts moving up, that's how I take my profits. So as it moves up, I might take, let's see here, maybe a third off the table. And it moves up. Let's put one more on here. There we go. It moves up again. Well, I might take another third off the table. It moves up again, and I might take that last third off the table. And that's what I do there. Okay. So it has nothing to do with bonds. It has nothing to do with anything other than the chart and my profiting goals. Okay. Yes, guys, I know that earnings are coming up, so I'm aware of that, and I guess I'll have to make that decision whether I'm going to hold it or not. But yeah, thank you, everyone. For entry, let's see here. Wait a minute here. Sorry, I had to find my place where I am. Let's see, John. So are you looking for a gap up from previous close? No, I'm not. Gap has got nothing to do with it. And a retest to that level for continuation? No. Gap has got nothing to do with it. I'm looking for just a simple chart pattern is what I'm looking for. Just a second here. I need to make a quick little adjustment. A couple things. A couple questions I'm being asked here on Skype. Whoops. Let's get this out of the way. Doggone it. Bear with me, folks. One sec here. Let me get this taken care of. There we go. All right. So what I'm looking for is here. Let's pull over. Let's look at a long chart. So let's take PLD for an example. Let me get rid of this right here. Let's get rid of that right there. I'm just looking for a chart that moves up. This is probably not the prettiest chart in the world for sure. I'm looking for a chart that rallies up and pulls back, and then I'm looking for an entry. Whoops, not that. I'm looking for an entry in this area here, and then I'm looking to take profits up like that. That's simple. That's simple. Etsy, nope, that would not be a good one. DKNG, that might be a good one, although I've been in and out of this thing. This thing owes me some money. So take a look at DKNG. One thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little line up there just so I know that there's a little resistance in there. You see this little rise and see how we're pulling back? Well, that's where I might enter the trade. Right in here, just like this. Okay, whoops, darn it, try that again. Might enter that trade. Here's another place I might enter this trade, which I'm more likely to do. I want it to break out, and then I want it to pull back, and then I want it to show me some bullishness, and that would be another area I might enter that trade. So I'm just simply looking for a rise and a pullback. That's it. Pretty simple. Following charts, trending charts. Let's see here. Let's see. Downtrend moving up. I'll say yes, Bill, since we're looking for shorts and talking about the blue ice failure, but I will say yes. Downtrend moving up. Let's see. What about your position size? John, we need to carry this maybe in another area, not here right now, okay? We're talking about the blue ice failure setup, so we need to leave it at that. Be happy to talk about all that, but just not right here, okay? Please. Okay, so let's look at some of these moving up here. Let's take a look at Z. So Z actually never became a really good blue ice failure. We didn't get below the 50-period moving average. But as you can see, the chart really hasn't suggested any bullishness right here. I don't think it has. If I look at the SPY real quick, I also want to point out it has not suggested any real bullishness. Not yet. So blue ice failure as of Friday. Today, it's taking that away a little bit, but it really hasn't done anything. And what we need to do is see follow through. So if we close like this today, that'll be positive. Yeah, that'll be good. But the reality is we're going to need to see bullish, positive follow through off of today's candle. And that would put it up here. And that would make me be to the long side. However, if the market could not pull that off, and if we started to move down, that could set us up for that blue ice failure again. Okay? Does that make sense? Are there any questions about setting up the scanner? Here's STT. This is the beauty of the scanner right here. It's giving us charts that are setting up for what we want. So this scan, this particular scan, is looking for that blue ice failure. And there we are. Here we've moved down. We're trying to consolidate, but it's just looking bearish. The bulls are not stepping into this, and we're looking for the 200 period or the dotted deuce down here in this area. We're looking for that to be our target direction. USB, another one, setting up, target direction. Now, let's get rid of all that. So let's take USB. It's alerting today. Would this have alerted back here? Of course it would have. So what a great place to have gotten into USB right here. You would have been part of that gap to the downside and maybe even still in it. Okay, let's look at DFS. There's DFS. Still a blue ice failure setup. Make sense? Does it help at all? Any questions? Well, now, see that this is to your question there, is DFS good to go short now? I cannot answer that. All right. We're here to teach. I can show you the chart pattern. I can't tell you, yes, short this right now. I cannot tell you that. I want you to learn how to make your decisions on a chart. If you shorted this, why would you short it? Explain why you would short it. Explain it to yourself, not me. I mean, I'll be happy to listen, but you have to know why you're going to short it. You're going to have to know why and where you would put a stop on this. You're going to have to know that, that kind of information. And then that's how you learn how to trade. So if you want to talk through this right now, I would be glad to help you. But please type in the room here what you're thinking for the trade. Point out some things in the chart that would make you think, well, this might be a short right now. And also put the pitfalls in there. In other words, but this might be a problem maybe. Maybe you come in here and you say, you know what, it looks like there's some support right here. Maybe that's a problem. I would be more than happy to work with you on that. But my goal is to teach you how to do this and to give you the proper tools to make this all happen. Okay? Siku, hang tight. In just a minute, I will go through that again, okay? We went through that earlier, but I'll go through that one more time just before we close out here, all right? Thanks, Vin. DFS has had a negative day, lowest low in the last 10 ways, under the FIP. There you go. Now set your plan up. Where's your stop going to be? Where's your entry? I don't know. I agree with you 100% so far. We have a hangman up here. We have clear follow through to the downside. We have a very clear downtrend. Okay. Let's see, Phil, is the daily chart the best chart to learn trading the blue ice value, or is another time frame better? For me, it's the daily chart, and I'm betting for majority of people it's probably the daily chart. You can do blue ice failure on a 3-bar chart. You can do that. See right here? This morning I created a blue ice, or is this it here? Nope. Wait a minute. Hold the phone. This is not it. Hang on here. Let's take a look at PSTG. There we go. Earlier, right here, that was triggering for a blue ice failure. Let's take a look at PRTY. This is triggering that blue ice failure. Triggering just the fact that it's setting up, not that it's triggering a buy or anything. And you could do the same thing on the weekly chart, Phil. If you have the scanner, you just have to set it up for that weekly chart. Take a look at HUN. Look at that. And HUN, where would this have first have alerted? Would it have alerted right there? Absolutely. Absolutely. That's where it would have first started to alert, right there. And that would have been a terrific trade to the downside. Okay. Alrighty. Somebody asked the settings. Let's do that right now, and then I'm going to bug out of here. Jim, I use the CBOE list, plus I make sure all the SPY charts are in there, all the S&P 500 and but yeah, ultimately that's what I end up doing. I might add a few as time goes, and I might even clear a few out as time goes. But ultimately that's what I end up doing. CBOE and SPY charts. Okay. All right, so here's the settings. CQ, I think it was CQ that asked that, is blue ice. Just name it the blue ice. And I use two different settings because they're just slightly different, but pretty much the same thing. You can see one pulls up 224 charts, one pulls up only 89 charts. Make sure you put the OR, the check mark in OR here. If you want to go grab these or write them down, just go the plus sign, and you can type in, just type in blue, I think. There they are right there. Click on one at a time, load it up there, and then you're all set to go. Phil, on your question, maybe in a different time frame, all you have to do is come over here, make sure you've highlighted one of those, and change your time frame, and then make sure you do the other one, change your time frame. And then what I like to do is whatever time frame we have up here, I like to match it with the time frame down here. So you'd want to do that. Or you could play with a different time frame, but I just like to match it up to the same. Okay? And we can talk about it in the trading room too. All righty. Look, I appreciate everybody. Thank you for understanding that we wanted to try to keep this right to the, about the blue ice failure and setting up the scanner for this. I appreciate that. If you want to come into the trading room, I'll be glad to answer some of those other questions. Be more than happy to. And maybe next week right here, maybe it'll be more of an open forum, and then we can, I'll certainly be delighted to answer those questions next week. Look at AMD. So AMD is, one more thing, and then I'll get out of here, okay? Years ago, I made no money, none whatsoever. And this is exactly the type of chart that I was trying to buy. This is kind of how I was taught to trade. We have a hammer. Man, I would jump into that. And, the chart would move up a little bit. And I just thought I was, excuse me, I just thought I was the smartest trader in the world. I really did. And it's just that I never made any money. Then I realized, well, I wasn't the smartest trader in the world. Pretty off, actually. And, what you have to take in consideration is the trend. What's everything doing? So what I did is I stopped being long trades like this. Now, what I would do now is how I would trade this differently, in my mind anyway. I would wait for this to move up. And then I would wait for that sell signal to come in there. And then that's where I might enter this trade as a short trade. Now, nothing says that something like this can't tell. By the way, for right now, I want to make sure that we get this up here, that downtrend line. Okay? Nothing says that this chart can't come down a little bit and then maybe find buyers and then start moving up. That can happen. That can happen. Low, high, higher, low. As long as we're in this downtrend, though, I'm going to remain for the most part to the bearish side. I'm not going to be long by trying to pick some kind of bottom here in a chart that is ugly as sin. I love AMD, by the way. I think it's a great company. It's just not a long trade right now. And I used to do this. I'm going to get some AMD here. All I would do is lose money. Because it's just not a smart chart setup. Just not smart. And, when I started making those changes, that's when things change. Scanner helps you with that. The scanner brings those bullish charts out, okay? Brings those bullish charts out. Alrighty, I'm going to get out of here, everybody. Ed, thank you so very, very much. Thanks for understanding. I didn't mean to cut anyone off. I just wanted to keep this focused on the blue ice failure. Too many times it just gets out of hand. So next week, maybe we'll have a more open forum, and I'll do whatever I can to answer your questions. All right, you guys take care. We'll see you all next week or in the trading room here in a little bit.